breakfast puppies?
This podcast contains adult language and content and is meant for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
You are listening to the Glitterbois.
Today we feature the return of what may have become our favorite new villains of the Palladium universe, at least as of the time that we started this series. We have Sourcebook 2, the Mechanoids. Now, this was my first exposure to the Mechanoids. I had never actually read any of the Mechanoids books back in the day, so when I got this in my teens, this was my first exposure to it. It was through Rifts. And of course, you know, last year we did the actual Mechanoids trilogy, which was fantastic. So it was really good to get that backstory of where they came from.
Yeah. I have always been taken with the concept of the Mechanoids. It is especially for an out of the gate game.
Yeah.
It's an amazing piece of work. And I really like the dedication at the beginning of this too. Did you read that? Or
I did.
Did you flip it?
Yeah.
That was very real, and that was very raw. And he really spoke to a part of me as a person who's made a lot of weird little projects that went nowhere. How much it means that to have someone at the very beginning who believes in what you're doing and who thinks it's cool, and how much even that one little bit will help, you know, someone who's got a black and white photocopied cover of the Mechanoids become the paper juggernaut that is Palladium Books with hundreds of books, you know? I mean, and yeah, it's just, these people are important, and I'm glad that he remembered him.
I like that one sentence as a cheerful voice on the other end of the phone. That bites.
Yeah.
That bites hard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with loss. It getting deep for just a moment. It's something that is frequently on my mind. The loss of friends and loved ones, how the loss of pets. So I really appreciate when someone else demonstrates not only do they feel that loss, but they can appreciate it and kind of honor that person, that soul that graced their life for a period of time in a positive way.
Yeah, that. What you said way better than I did. Absolutely. The next page actually has a floating gun alien, so there's that. Looking pretty cool there.
All right, so there's a special thanks called at the bottom here. It says special thanks to Newton Ewell, I'm just gonna say Newton Ewell, who made the new Mechanoid designs. Dear God, Newton Ewell's art in this is phenomenal. He really brought new life into these Mechanoids. I'm
agreed.
Yeah, clap, bravo, Newton.
Yeah.
This is some good stuff.
I really like a lot of things have done this. Like the Zentradi did this very well in the art, and that's like a smooth carapace with a lot going on at the seams. And the Mechanoids lend themselves to that. And I've always liked that art style, no matter what the IP was that used it.
Like that piece on page 6 from Newton, it looks like an evolution of the long style in all the right ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including the cock cannon.
There's a cock cannon on the cover of the goddamn book.
Yeah.
Or a cock spike.
Cock spike. There is a lot I really liked about this book, and I'll give some broad strokes before we get into the stuff. I loved the subject matter. I loved it being brought into Rifts. I loved the villains that came with the setting, and I loved how it affected the villains in the setting, specifically Archie and Hagen. I liked some of the cults. There is something I did not like, though, and that was the ABMs.
Oh, the good Mechanoids?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Not a
I
fan.
prefer my foes implacable. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's also just using up pages to be like, and the ABM, here's its stats. But you notice the ABM.
Yeah. So a high level review of what you get from this source book. You're going to get some prophecies that open the book up. Then these prophecies are coming from some dude at Laszlo who does like magical shit or something. Anyway, he's got these prophecies of doom that is going to come to the Rift's world in a number of cycles, of waves of doom.
Mm-hmm.
And this set of prophecies here is heavily quoted among the fandom. It's heavily referenced on the forums because this set of prophecies is still considered part of the design vision of the Rift's setting today, all the way through with the whole Minion Wars that were very recent stuff. It's really awesome looking back and seeing this and then knowing what's coming and how they stuck to it. So
yeah,
we have this prediction of doom that as a longtime fan, well done. Good for sticking to it. And this book is specifically about the first doom, which is something that Archie causes by messing with things he shouldn't have. He opens a portal. From that portal come the Mechanoids. And, he cuts them off before they get too heavily here. Unfortunately, it's not enough. And they become the first major doom that could potentially destroy the planet.
You know, I always have this weird disconnect, not to take it in a completely different direction, but when the coming danger paragraph on 8, whenever I see the word symbology, all that goes in my head is Boondock Saints. Symbolism. I'm sure you meant symbolism. No? Fell flat? Okay, cool.
I don't remember that a lot. I remember the movie. It was a great fucking movie. I think symbology does actually mean something. Maybe. I don't know.
That's the whole language argument, and if enough people agree, it does. Yeah, but we'll just cut that.
Well, okay. Here's forecasting some ideas. I think symbology is the mystical version of symbolism. It's where you're divining meaning of life from it. Like symbolism, I think, is what writers do, what fucking John Steinbeck does in his novels and Moby Dick and all of that shit. I think symbology is when that stuff affects the world and you're predicting the future like Nostradamus. That's my claim. Whatever.
I think it's just the why, because then you get in from, numerology and stuff like that. I think that's where I don't know. It always raises my hackles.
Well, man, you need to get with the wordology here.
I really do, and you're entirely right.
I don't know if I vibe with your speakology here.
Fuck.
All right.
I mean, no. Let's keep it PG-13. One thing I do really like about this, though, is that everyone takes this very seriously. The coalition takes it seriously. Like no one bands together against, the great and coming evil. Everyone's very reserved about it. All the great powers of the Rift's world. But I do like the nuanced reactions that everyone has and the time they took to explain those nuanced reactions. So no matter where in the hello kitchen. So no matter where in the world. There you go.
I have a cat now.
It's coming from that you have a place with a little bit of background as to how your people are receiving this.
Mm-hmm. It's something that Palladium, I think, has always been good at is presenting factions,
little touches, yeah,
and their reasons for doing the things that they do. No, cat, you need to get off. Come here. No. This is what I get for letting the cat in the recording room.
That's okay. The Splugorth, you even get reactions from them. You get little side quests, the Children of Doom and Neri the Neuron Beast and what he wants and what he's here for.
Yeah. I like that it goes great and small. Like we see what the large factions are doing, and then we see what these crazy fuckers in the woods are doing.
Yeah. And I mean, and depending on the level of your party, and this is what I really like about this. This is an adventure for levels 6 to 8. You can fit into this at any level. And I really like that. This could be your first level party. This could also be your 10th level party.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's space for everyone here. And I really love, I love their world building. I love it so much.
Well, also looking at the threats that are going to be coming up later in this book, those aren't first level threats.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
And in fact, they even speak on it as to how to take it up and take it down. And like, yeah, the threats are bad and like the capability is bad, but they also give you ways to reason your way through it and not like slog your way through it. If you're clever.
Yeah. So something that I think that this book also does very well is it follows naturally out of Sourcebook 1, which was the book on Archie. So this is all about, the first book is all about the Archie adventure. And this is all about an adventure that Archie caused that kind of branches out of his control. So I do think that they could make a nice lead in, specifically like all of the evolution of Archie's robots and Hagen's personal battle armor.
I love that there's like almost a whole page that's basically, if you thought you killed Archie at the end of the last book, no, you're wrong. If you thought you killed Hagen, no, I'm afraid you're wrong. And if you really did kill it, well, then it's just Archie 4. So, I mean, it's just really fun. And that's why we just have that reaction to Archie.
And one of my favorite new pieces of art is on page 27. That's terrifying. It's one of the new Archie robots. That motherfucker, dude, that's just terrifying. I mean, it takes the concept of the silver-skinned Terminator, but just makes it even more horrifying, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't have the nose. That makes it alien.
Oh yeah,
and the chest plastron. Yeah,
that's an astute observation. You're right. Yeah.
No nose means evil. Evil people breathe through their mouths. It then goes into the Mechanoids. It talks about their where they came from, how they are, like what we did to them to make them, what they are.
I don't think we did it, but a humanoid race somewhere long ago in a galaxy far away. Yeah, it's
humankind specific, race of humans, not humanoid.
Yeah.
Now they hated what we did so much, and I can completely buy it that they've since done that to all bipeds with 2 arms and 1 head.
I mean, I know it says a race of humans, but at the same time, I'm like, I mean, if they were a long time ago and hundreds of thousands of light years away, it wasn't us.
That's true. That's true. I like the inclusion of the old art. It would have been really easy to not do that, but I love all that old Siembieda art. I really do.
Wait, aren't you the person who calls out every time we see Mechanoid art as a joke?
I just not because it's bad, just because it's being recycled. No, I like it, and I am a large enough man that I can contain my own contradictions. Thank you very much.
No, there is a lot of recycled art, but there's also a lot of good recycled art. I mean, there's a reason the Mechanoids art gets recycled. They shove it in pretty much everywhere, but it's good. Classic Palladium stuff. Again, it wouldn't be a Palladium book if there wasn't a Mechanoid art in there somewhere, which is why I think Dead Rain was actually ghost written.
Yeah, that would make this the most Palladium book that wasn't the Mechanoids, right?
Yeah.
This is the most Palladium of the Palladium books, then.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have the good guy Mechanoids. Yeah. ABMs, aberrant Mechanoids. I don't know. I always liked
it. It just seemed like a way to use the old art.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just used it anyway, but I get why. it's fascinating. It's an interesting story hook that if you are the type of game master who wants to bring in sympathetic villains or sympathetic factions of the villain, this is your opportunity to do it. Whether or not it's a good opportunity is up to you.
Okay, I'm going to go a little far afield here.
All right.
I think the reason that I really have a trouble with the sympathetic villain, just concept in general, like I like my villains to be evil and I like my heroes to be good. And that is because I think the struggle is always like internal. I don't like you're overcoming inside and outside in a heroic story, like your own fear, your own weariness, your own pain. And I think that's where the meat of the story should fall. And I just don't want to have sympathy for the freaking villain. I just don't. I want him to be evil. I want him to be implacable. And then I want to feel nothing but joy when he's dead.
But look at their origin story. Their origin story is completely sympathetic. The fact that the Mechanoids were initially benevolent, they did so many things for love of their creators, and then their creators turned against them.
Why, Father? Why? No, the Frankenstein story is a little different. I'm talking about more like a Kylo Ren kind of get to know you, be on the side of the villain kind of thing. And that's I don't really like that. But that's a personal take.
No, I get you. I don't want to like my villains either. But what if factions within the villains realize the error of their ways and at least do something to help you beat the other bad guys? Which is what I think these are supposed to be. Like,
I mean, it's okay. That was the one part I didn't like. I really liked the rest of this book.
All right. I don't really have an opinion on the aberrant Mechanoids. I'm just fascinated by your disdain for them.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. it just like it doesn't really go into why either, like not in any like real giveable way. It's really just feels like an excuse to, sell it right back to you. Like you have all this great new art, like fantastic new art, and like there's, Kevin was like, well, but I want to use my stuff. Come on, guys. Okay, well here's what we're gonna do. But that's just me. I don't know. You get stuff, you get all the Mechanoids, you get the new Mechanoids, the old Mechanoids. I really like the one on 56, what I call the Battletech Mechanoid.
Ah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a work of art. That is gorgeous. Yeah.
And the one on the next page is the Invid Mechanoid.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty much.
When you look at what Palladium does, and you realize that really no one else could have had the properties that they had. Like no one else could have done Robotech. Nobody.
These are really interesting designs for creatures. They all harken back to the original Mechanoid style, which, if you look at the samples of the ABM Mechanoids here that are presented at the old style Mechanoids, you see where it's all rooted. And what I love is that it does have this atmosphere of inspiration from the 60s and the 70s. Like you can clearly see inspiration from the Cybermen, from the Daleks, from Space 1999, from this corrupted world of tomorrow. They look like the world of tomorrow that came back to kick our butts. And I love that evolution of it in here where you still see those roots of the corrupted world of tomorrow, but now they are basically, that if they were introduced to some sort of external stimulus that inspired them to become even more badass.
I agree.
It's really good stuff.
And I think, what was it? The extermination of their race in an unknown way, and these just being the fractured survivors that were called into Rift's Earth kind of gives light to that. Can we talk about the pole dancing Glitterbois on page 90? I'm really sure that he's about to lean in and ask if I'm interested in a private dance.
Hold on, let me pull this up. Oh my. Yeah. He's
I mean that's
sexy.
not a power pose. That's a That's more of a lithe, seductive pose for power armor, which is odd.
That's a calendar pose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glitterbois November. It's just strange to me. I thought it was a strange pick.
I really like the art on the 2 pages before that. And I know it's throwback art to the original Mechanoids trilogy, but it's just like I said in those episodes.
It's a mechanoid base and all the, this is what this is, and this is what this grasping claw. Yeah.
Oh, this is what this tiny little gear here that you probably didn't even care what it did, but here's what it does. Like, I love it. I love it. And that old grayscale pencil art. Ugh.
Yeah.
So good.
There's a lot of little, like, they give you an overview of what they see the grand adventure, the overarching adventure is, and then they give you like lots of little entry points, like Liberty, Evil Among Humans. What was it? There was a raider that was like Wily Willie or something like that.
Yeah, Wily Willie Gladansky.
The Bad Cat Gang. There's lots of places to, like I said, to insert yourself.
A mind melter named Sweet Sue. I love it. One of the things that they get here is in one of the adventures, you have to stop the Mechanoids from completing a factory where they're trying to build more of their things. Now, when we did the previous episode talking about rifts, the Rifter number 7, in it was a Scalabot that could produce more of itself. And when I read that, and then I read reread Sourcebook 2 in preparation for this discussion, I got to thinking, man, you want to take it up a level. What if the Mechanoids capture a few of those and reverse engineer them?
That would be bad. That would be very bad.
Oh, yeah. And suddenly the Mechanoids are capturing people and alien style implanting mechanoid babies in them or some shit like that. That would be wonderful. Or just consuming their biomass to make more mechanoids.
One thing I really like about the mechanoids is they're an elemental adversary. And maybe that just says more about me, that's what I'm like really drawn to. It's like, I don't want to think, I just want to kill. But I do like that. Now, that said, they are not in their typical position of power in this setting.
Correct.
This is the moment of dislodgement before they become their overwhelming wave again. This is a galaxy-spanning badass culture that apparently fought with itself and is now reduced to these shattered remnants. Now, they've taken shelter with Archie, which is like a whole thing in and of itself. And Archie is tentatively like humoring them, but you know, Archie is long term. He doesn't like pull the trigger really fast.
He does realize the threat that they are.
Yeah. But he still wants to get what he can from them as well. That said, he's also sent out Hagen, not only to keep him safe and away from them, which I found touching.
Yeah.
But to start killing the mechanoids and keep them contained.
Yeah.
Call their ranks, call their numbers.
Yeah, this whole campaign is one of those kill the seed adventures. Like there's a potential here for world destroying doom. You have to stop. You got to stop the self-replicating machines from replicating. And if you can prevent that from happening, then you've quote unquote saved the world as much as you can save that fucked planet that Rift's Earth is.
Yeah. There is a lot of really dark flavor text here.
Yeah.
I think it was, what is it? Right after the smutty glitter boy. he's had a bit much to drink. No more. But there's this page something story about just this scene, this survivor scene where you find this person from a burned out town, and it's dark, man. I mean, like clutching broken bodies of children that they I mean, it's hard. It was actually kind of a rough read for me.
Yeah. Nobody does an apocalypse like Palladium.
That's very true. On the scale of, do you need, like, because we kind of do this with some of these books, I would say this is a yes. Along with the Archie book.
My thought is if you are looking for a campaign and you got no ideas, get this, because this has the foundations for a complete long-term campaign. It's got a lot of good stuff here. However, long-term, if you are the kind of GM who just doesn't really care about the whole 4 dooms and whatnot, it's ultimately skippable. Everything is contained in this book, and the Mechanoids are only vaguely ever referenced again.
That said, this gives you this gives you enough to literally do a 10-year campaign.
Absolutely.
Like there's enough levels, there's enough background, there's enough motivations that if you can't villain yourself, this has got you. This has got the entire seed that you need for a long drawn out fight.
And you could easily just grab the Mechanoids trilogy that they combined and published years back, get a copy of that, do a little bit of math rejiggering to update its stats, and inspired by the creatures from this. And you can take your Rifts Mechanoids campaign into Mechanoid space so that when that book finally does get printed, you'll be ready for it.
No, I already did the Inception with Rifter 7. We can't do it again here. Brom. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Like,
yeah.
I would like to invade classic riffs with new riffs.
That would set up a one-shot
where we just kind of like invade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with After the Bomb, or
yeah,
kind of like not so much like a story time thing, unless it's like you are in the arena of the gods kind of thing. But I think it would just be fun from a purely like combat mechanic perspective. Or maybe I'm just like a really serious nerd who gets off on that kind of thing. I don't know. It could be both.
I would love to play in it. I don't think I have the chops to run it.
Yeah. We'll ask Buckley. He's the official ambassador.
I don't know how big on Mechanoids he is, but if we can get him to do some Mechanoids, I'm in. Totally.
I don't know. I think part of the reason I recommend it is just because I was so blown away by what the Mechanoids were for an out of the gate game that it was just I still have admiration for it, and I'll certainly buy anything with the name on it just because I was impressed. I still am.
I think it's a good book, and I don't want to. I'm not throwing shade on it at all. I'm not saying don't buy it. I think in the grand scheme of things, depending upon what your funds may be, like if you're coming to Rifts and you have X amount of monies, Mechanoids is a good side story. Unless you're planning on making a fully Mechanoids campaign, you're not going to get much more out of it.
Yeah. I have always, one of my former DMs did this with second edition and second edition D&D. And there was never a campaign. The way she ran it was this whole living, breathing world with so many different things happening. And you could dip your toe in, or you could just run around like a pinball on fucking crack, just being bounced from one inexplicable thing that was fully formed, never off the cuff, to another. And it was an amazing way to do it. I wish she still did it, but she doesn't.
I love sandbox campaigns with open borders, open borders and infinite horizons kind of thing. That's my jam.
Yeah. I agree. So, Danny, if you could get back to doing that, I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, do you have anything else to say about it? I think I said most of what I had to say really with Mechanoids. I like how they dropped into Rifts. I think it's a good fit. But
it closes off the book with some random tables. I love random tables. Some encounter rolls. Love them. Always a plus in my book. And it actually has some new character sheets. It has some new character sheets for the time that I think actually look pretty cool. So, honestly, it's a good book. It's a good book. I love the art. I love the story. Yeah. Get it and run a Mechanoids campaign.
It is hard when you look at like a Rifts character sheet too, because you could, without even stretching the imagination into what you have on you, you could easily do 3 to 4 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
you could do
basically an
3 to
essay.
4 pages writing down the stats of a suit of armor.
Yeah. I love that kind of crunch. I really do.
It's good.
Crunch. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. That was Mechanoids and Riffs, and I like it.
Yeah. If you have thoughts on the Mechanoids, please join our Discord and start up a conversation.
If you agree with me, you get you get bonus emojis. I'm pretty sure that's how Discord runs, right? If you agree with Matthew.
I think you have to pay for them on the server side. So if you agree with Matthew, convince him to buy emojis for our server.
I think they should buy emojis from the whole server. Yeah. Well, I'm just babbling at this point.
Yep,
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. We'll catch you next time. You've been listening to The Glitterbois, a Palladium Books fan podcast. Glitterbois, Rifts, the Megaverse, and all other such topics are the property of Kevin Siembieda and Palladium Books. Please buy all their stuff and help keep them in print and making more games. You can order directly at palladiumbooks.com, and their entire catalog is available digitally at Drive-Thru RPG as well. Our opening music is 8-Bit Bass and Lead by Furby Guy from freesound.org. This closing music is Caravana by Philip Gross, available at freemusicarchive.org. All sound effects used are self-made or acquired via Creative Commons 0 license. If you like what you have heard, find us on Twitter and Facebook as The Glitterbois. That's BOIS. And check us out online at breakfastpuppies.com/glitterboys. And also join us on the Breakfast Puppies Network Discord at breakfastpuppies.com/discord. And if you want to help us out, please spread the word and help us build a community. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.